Hello guys, so this video is made for Kodii to help him setting up the player living sliders. So I made two tests. First with current slider on player livings. What I mean by current slider is, so the two sliders I'm going to play with are the player living chances for the CPU and the user team, 25 and 15. So we move to the season end, simulate it to the next season, and more specifically when we have to basically prevent player from leaving by eventually giving them some money to accept to ignore their deal breakers, which are not respected. We know that deal breakers are normally a big deal when you manage recruitment. So we are getting there, and we see that for us at UCF, with those sliders, we are going to lose, we are at risk to lose mostly 4 players. 4. But in reality, we are going to see that in our roster, we have much more players which the deal breaker is not respected. So basically, more players should ask to leave, but we see that they just don't. So we can say that even with 25 as a user team, basically the current slider totally annihilates any player leaving the team for deal breaker purpose. Most of the players will stay, and not to mention that after the last patch, it's very cheap to buy them out. I mean, to convince them with usually 5 to 10 nil that they should stay in your team. Obviously, and on CPU teams, it's even less because it's 15. So when you are in such a case, the transfer portal is going to be very limited in terms of players. Not to mention that we still have the step where we can try to convince at least a couple of guys that they should stay, even if they are still in their way to get out. So basically, the direct impact of that slider is to limit the transfer portal, which is going to be far from what it is today, and I think it's not at all realistic to keep such a low slider. Okay, now we are going to do a second test where we are going to use last year sliders, 58 for the user team and basically 55 for CPU teams. I'm not sure we have to reinvent the wheel, to be honest, as far as these sliders are concerned. Okay, back to the end of the season and the stage where we are looking the player at risk. Look, now this time we have some more credible metrics when it comes to player leaving. Honestly, I think we should even, if we do anything, we should bump up that slider. Because look, by the way, after the patch, it's fairly cheap to keep players in the team. For those which don't have nil requirement, for 5 to 10 nil, they stay in your roster anyway. So even if you are very far from their deal breaker requirement. So if we consider, by the way, that most of the league plays with top 20 teams, which have like between 8 and 12k of budget, basically they will not lose anyone they don't want to lose. So I definitely think that the portal should be the portal. Like I know that Kodii, you love Trend Deal First, so I will keep his interview because he's referring to 7,000 players in the portal on his first season. Enjoy.
Man, you were right in the middle of the Ring of Fire.
I mean, it changed.
Right?
It changed like 3 weeks after I took the job. So NIL was a thing. I knew it. We thought we had a plan. In the interview process, I went over the plan. I had a plan. This is what it's going to look like. Here's how I projected unfolding. Here's what we'll need resource-wise, blah, blah, blah. I jump in. And then it went from like, hey, some kids are making some money to the only thing that's talked about is negotiating with street agents about kids in the portal. There were 1,000-ish kids in the portal. My first portal thing, the first portal cycle I was in, there were 7,000. So that was kind of, it happened really fast. And it was like, okay, so we played a bunch of freshmen. Great, we'll go play a bunch of freshmen, develop them, we'll be good long term. Great, we develop them. They had 56 catches, boom, they're at Houston. Boom, they got 3 sacks, boom, they're gone. They were good offensive linemen, boom, he's gone. And it's just like it was one after the other.